What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Bleed Lows podcast. The Dodgers kicked off their first road trip of the season. Mookie landed on the IL, and will Andy Pajes stay on an MVP trajectory? All that and more coming up next. Hello again and welcome back. Anthony and I are your co-hosts tonight, and producer Roger is behind the scenes. Before we get into it all, we want to let you know about DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date and in the know with all the latest coverage of the LA Dodgers. It is your one-stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat, and check out DodgersBeat.com. All right, Anthony, we played host musical chairs last week, and we didn't get a chance to chat. Have you been?
I've been good. I finally feel like I beat that flu that I had for like about a week or two. I can't really complain. I mean, the Dodgers have been playing out of their minds offensively. I know the last time that I was probably on air, I was complaining about them offensively just because that Guardian series was kind of a very dull series compared to what they've done against Washington and what they've done against Toronto. I know they have one more game pending, but they've already won this series basically. So it's hard to say I'm not impressed. It's been a very impressive stretch of baseball over the last couple 6 games.
Oh yeah, they heard you talking about them and they got their act together. So I'll credit you. Yeah, we'll get into all of it. We want to talk about the last couple series, but before we get into that, I saw you were having some fun around LA to take your mind off it, right?
Yeah, I've been out and about. I feel like I've been out and about the entire the past like 2 years, just making up for lost time with COVID and all that. I was at SoFi. I was at Kanye's concert. I had a great time. I will be out and about in LA again on Friday. I'll be making my Dodger Stadium debut. I'll be there with my dad and my mom celebrating my dad's birthday. So happy early birthday to my dad. His birthday is on the 10th, so it kind of lined up perfectly. And I've been making plans for the summer and for the fall time. It's weird because uh, I don't like making plans far out in advance, but I feel like this is kind of the time where you need to because you just don't know what's going to happen. So I do have some fun stuff planned in the summer, some fun stuff planned for the fall time. But right now, primarily the fun stuff kind of revolves around Dodger baseball, and I'm excited to be at the stadium Friday. Not excited for rain. Hopefully, the rain kind of holds off till post game because I don't know if I want to stick it out and like be in a rain delay at Dodger Stadium. That might be like the first time I've ever been rain delayed at a game.
Yeah, I've just done one rain game at Dodger Stadium. We had ponchos on and everything. It's actually kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Don't like driving in the rain, but it's a unique experience because we hardly get rain in LA. But yeah, happy early birthday to Dad. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So far we have had two sweeps and only two losses. I think we can call the Dodgers the comeback kings in some way because I mean, five of their first seven wins were comeback wins, which is always kind of reminiscent of the past with the Dodgers. It's like right when we think, okay, the game is over, they just know how to get it together. And one thing I like that we heard Pedro Martinez, he tweeted today that he thinks this is the best Dodgers team that we have ever seen. Would you agree?
So far, it is. Yeah. That's kind of where like my cause for concern came. Last episode I did was because they were winning games, but there was also opportunities there where they could have lost those games, and it kind of just went their way. I know they came from behind, and they proved it last year that they're the comeback kids, but that kind of scares me when they don't play with the lead and they are like they fall behind, and I'm like, it gets a little bit like worrisome and stuff like that. So I'm glad that we've it kind of went our way and it didn't go the opposite way because the way we started 4-2, we did start 4-2. We could have easily been 2-4, and then like things are kind of sour, and like you're starting to think, like, oh well, like man, like these guys are not clicking, not figuring it out. So that's kind of where like my cause for concern came is like I just don't like the way the process has been. They're kind of like being reckless on the base paths. They're kind of like chasing early pitches. Guys are not getting deep into counts. I feel like guys are swinging at the first pitch here and there, and now it's kind of like reversed. Now they've gone on the road, and it feels like okay, guys are now watching pitches. Guys are taking extra bases, are capitalizing on mistakes that the opposing teams are making. The Blue Jays have made a ton of errors the entirety of the past two games, and it feels like it's not even just this series. Like if you paid attention to the series they played against the White Sox, they've been making those same errors as well too. So we said it last year in the playoffs, like a good team is going to make you pay for all the mistakes you make, all the free bases and stuff, and all the walks and stuff like that. So I'm glad the Dodgers have been able to capitalize on the mistakes that all these teams have probably been making and been regretting it basically because they've been putting up not just like 3 runs, they've been putting up like 10 runs in most of these games.
Yeah, no, I think it's in the last 5 games, they've had like 49 runs, which puts them, close to, if not at the top of baseball. And as of this morning, they were in the top 5 all time for runs scored for a team that in the first 4 games on the road. So we are looking at a record breaking team already. We already see Shohei breaking some records. So definitely want to talk about that. But it wasn't all pretty. There was some things I definitely want to get your thoughts on. We saw Roki. We've had a little bit of a taste of him now, looking at his outings, and there's a lot of chatter out there about what his role really should be going forward. How long of a rope are the Dodgers going to give him to kind of see how long he can make it out as a starting pitcher? But the last outing was rough. You had 6 earned runs. You had Miguel Rojas on the mound talking to him, trying to build his confidence again. Your thoughts on Roki and where he's going forward in your mind?
See, it's funny because the very first start he had against Cleveland, I was the opposite. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I have confidence in him kind of getting through it. And then this time around, I know the numbers they look bad, but like I sat through his entire start. I thought he did all right, apart from like giving a meatball sub to James Wood, who took him deep. The replay even showed that splitter that he left hanging, like Wood's eyes just basically whoop like that because he didn't realize he was gonna get such a good pitch to hit.
Yeah.
And apart from like the high fastball that he left to I forget the lefty hitter that took him deep for that 2-run homer the inning beforehand, he just ran into some bad luck in that 4th inning. I think for him going forward is the key to his issues is how do we avoid the big inning? Because he was rolling through 3 innings, and I felt like, oh wow, we're actually gonna get a really good Sasaki start here. Like we might actually see him go into the 5th, maybe dabble into the 6th. It kind of goes into the numbers then and here and there, but for me, I think he just kind of experienced bad luck in that 4th inning. Whether it was the slow roller that I think Hebert Ruiz hit that took that bad bounce off the first base, that's an inning-ending ground ball that kind of just goes to bad luck. The stolen base that CJ Abrams had originally called out, ruled safe on the replay. So for me, I feel like this is the first time where I kind of was looking at him I'm like, oh man, he kind of just had a lot of stuff go against him. It really wasn't his like. I know the pitch spray pattern kind of like tended to show like towards the end of his like start, it was starting to go everywhere, all over the place compared to like the very first few innings where he was locating his stuff very well. But for me, I know the numbers don't look good, but I kind of felt comfortable. I'm like, okay, there was some progress here. Like, let's take the positives from this and let's see if we can build it going forward.
Yeah, there is positive. I mean, you're looking at spring training, he couldn't even get through an inning. And yeah, those first 3 innings were giving us reason to be hopeful. It's just that, yeah, that 1 inning. And of course it's Wood. But I mean, speaking of CJ Abrams, how glad are you that he is not a Padre? We don't have to see him
Yeah,
a lot
he's
more.
very good, very talented. Very happy he's not on San Diego. I think they were saying that he did play for San Diego, but he ultimately ended up getting traded anyway to Washington for Juan Soto, who doesn't even play for the Padres anymore. So it tells you all you need to know about that trade. But for me, going back to Roki, I think this is a good confidence building start. At least through the first 3 innings, it looked like he was like, okay, he's dialed in. We're gonna get a very decent start here. You just have to figure out a way to avoid that big inning, and it's like you have to limit the walks, you have to limit the meatballs that you leave down the plate, stuff like that. But for me, I kind of left out of that in a start that he had, kind of like, okay, there's some positive because I don't want to be just negative, 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 negative on poor guy. And I felt like this is actually one of those starts where I was like, okay, some things went against you and it's unfortunate, but I can see the positives in it. And like, let's take that and just move on to your next start, wherever that may be.
Yeah, definitely want to stick to positives. But yeah, definitely know that the franchise believes in him, or they wouldn't have, gone so hard for him because they see a lot of potential. And I just want to see that in him because I feel like there is still some mental things going on where he just really needs to build his confidence, and he's admitted that, so he knows that. But I really love Roki, and I know that he wants to do well, but it's still a lot of pressure. And frankly, he's still so young. When you really think of his age and how even just a year in, that's still such a little bit of time for him to be in the league and on the Dodgers, the team that's at the top of the game right
Yeah.
now. But one thing I think is real positive, I was thinking back to a conversation we had a year ago on Andy Pajes talking about, does he deserve to be in the All-Star game? And I mean, look at how far he's come. He had a great year last year, kind of, had a little bit of a retraction during the postseason, but then had that amazing catch. And now look at him. He is, as of this week, NL Player of the Week. In his first 8 games, bro had like what 500 batting average. Don't think it's there now, but close enough. Number 1 in MLB for hits. I mean, is this like the big dog of the moment? I mean, and we believed in him, right, Anthony?
We do, yeah. For me, I'm happy for him. I think they were saying on the broadcast, if I remember hearing Joe Davis correctly, that they had him practice. I don't even know the name of that machine, the tragic machine, the one that you can emulate all sorts of starting pitchers, and they kind of like rebuild him. Basically, they're like, okay, they did the Miguel Vargas thing when he was with us in spring training. He just couldn't swing a bat. They're like, okay, we're just gonna work on your eyesight. Just stand here. And the pitcher they picked was Paul Skeens. They're like, you're gonna stare at every pitch he has until we basically tell you, okay, it's time to swing. So you can actually see it that he's progressed a lot in his swing. You saw it throughout spring training. Those early games, like, oh, he's going the opposite way. He's chasing it, but he's pushing it towards the right field line. He's going down for doubles and stuff like that. And it's actually very encouraging, and it's very I'm happy for him because I feel like this might be the year where he is an all-star. I think he's so far at least is kind of playing like it. I know last year the playoff struggles were very evident, but again, when I told Vince yesterday, it's just hard to in the playoffs to adjust because you're facing the elite of the elite in every rotation. The Phillies, they had it was Ranger Suarez, they had Christopher Sanchez, and they had all those guys. And then when you got to the World Series, you saw what the Blue Jays had, basically the monsters they had, whether it was your Savage, Gosman, and all sorts of guys. So it's kind of hard. Once the book is out on you and you're struggling, they're just gonna keep hammering it into you until you prove otherwise that you can hit. And for me, at least now, it feels like he's kind of more comfortable. He knows he's on this Dodger team compared to last year when he first started and he was like being asked to be sent back to AAA because he kind of wasn't sure if he belonged up in the big leagues or not. I think last year's postseason run, the entire season basically proved that Andy Pajas is going to be one of our outfielders for the foreseeable future. And there's really no pressure on him because he's not an all-star right now.
Yeah.
There's really no expectations for him because he's not one of those guys. When you look through our salary, he's not going to be the first name that you see up there. He's going to be one of the guys at the very end because I think he's still arbitration eligible and all that. So for me, it's a very plus sign. The future in the outfield is very, very bright outside of Andy Pajes because you guys got the monster down in AAA who's just absolutely dominating James Tibbs as well. So I
Mhm.
think there's a very healthy competition out there brewing for the Dodgers in the outfield. I don't know if all these guys are going to be Dodgers. Like we said, we have prospects are always prospects, but they never always end up being Dodgers. They always end up on a different team. But for me, at least going forward, the next few years, I can see Andy Pages being out there, our center fielder for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no. So I 100% echo everything you're saying. And, we don't know who's going to be the MVP. Way too early to talk about it. But do you think that he could be in the MVP conversation either this or in the coming years?
He can be in the conversation, but I don't know if he'll ever get that consideration considering the team he plays for. Like if
Yeah.
he was currently doing this on, I don't know, I'm pick a random team, Cincinnati, I think there'd be more love for him, especially if he did it throughout the whole season. Right now, again, small sample size, but I think most of these guys are not going to get considerations for MVPs just because of the Dodgers. And again, the guy in front of him as well too, Mr. Shohei Ohtani, is going to get a lot of that recognition as well too. But I mean, for fans' perspective, I mean, we always say like it's a team effort. Everyone plays their role. Everyone plays their part. Ultimately, in winning a championship, and Andy Pa has played the ultimate role. Game 7, basically making that amazing catch and stuff like that. So for me, I don't think he'll ever get real MVP consideration. Maybe if he was on a different team, but he might get Player of the Week considerations. And I think the ultimate like nod is if he does end up playing in that Midsummer Classic game in the All Star game. That's the ultimate like sign of respect. Like, yeah, you were one of the best players in Major League Baseball. You deserve to be on this field with the rest of us.
Yes, one of my favorite all-time, center fielders, of course, is Cody Bellinger, and I know that he wasn't necessarily playing up to par the last time he was with us, but I mean, did you see that catch? It makes me miss Belly so much. That crazy
Yeah.
catch this week,
For me,
so
yeah,
good.
we've actually had the luxury of having some really good like MVP center fielders. Matt Kemp's the other guy that comes to mind. That season that he had with us. So maybe the Dodgers are just like the machine when it comes to producing like MVP outfielders.
I agree, 100%. Okay, so let's talk about another MVP because right now Shohei Ohtani. I mean, we can never say enough about him. He has the longest active scoreless inning streak among starting pitchers. We know he pitches tomorrow, right? 22 and 2/3 innings pitched, scoreless. And he also today upped his scoreless on base streak. He has 40. He had 41. Now he has 42. So that puts him in the arena of Ichiro Suzuki's, one game behind him. Could break another record as soon as tomorrow's game. Incredible, amazing. What else? What other adjectives can we use for him? I mean, should we just put him in the Hall of Fame now, or just name the Hall of Fame after him? I mean, what more can this man do?
No, but I do like the idea of just like when guys are done playing, and Mike Trout's going to be the example of this because I have a few buddies of mine are at the Angels games right now. When he's done, like we know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Why are we making him wait? Clayton Kershaw, he's done. Why are we making him wait? Like we know he's going to end up there. I hate the whole like, oh, he has to wait a certain amount of time before we make. Why? Like this, we know he's there. The list came out. I don't know if that list I saw was true or not. Like Buster Posey is eligible for the Hall of Fame. Like, why did we make him wait? Like the minute he hung up the cleats, like Buster Posey is a Hall of Famer. We all know that. Everyone knows that. Like you can't tell the story of baseball and the history of baseball without Buster Posey. Like, yes, we know he's a Hall of Famer. So for Shohei, for these guys, I think you have to wait. You have to wait until they're done playing. And like the minute they have the press conference, that's when you send the announcement. Oh, by the way, Shohei Ohtani has unanimously been elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Basically, I hate when all sports. It's not just baseball itself. All sports do this because then you run the risk of injury or not injury, like something happening. And like no perfect example because I'm staring at his bobblehead. I mean, we knew Kobe Bryant was a Hall of Famer, and unfortunately, he had the situation happen where he unfortunately lost his life in that accident, and we missed out on stuff like speeches and stuff like that because we waited 6 years before he became eligible to even considered for the Hall of Fame. So, I think for like guys who are no brainers, you have to put him in right away. Like Shohei Ohtani is a no brainer. You can show a picture to a random person of Shohei Ohtani and you tell him, "Is he a Hall of Famer?" And 100% of people are going to say, "Yes, he's a Hall of Famer."
Yeah, thank God he was fine today. My heart dropped into my stomach when I saw that he got randomly hit by the rookie catcher, and so fluky, so weird. But yeah, I can't live without him. I'm so happy we have 8 more years. But yeah, I'm more interested in this. You have friends who are Angels fans, at Angels
Yeah,
games.
having worked here at the OC for almost like 5 years, I've run into my fair share of Angel fans. Not many. I think it's like a handful of them, maybe like five of them. They're very diehard about the Angels, but it's also very sad to see like the stuff they go through and like being on the opposite end. I'm like that's why I kind of like I don't sympathize with them. I sympathize with my friends because I hate to see them like miserable and stuff like that. They do end up beating the Dodgers throughout the regular season, so they always have like that like over my head for whatever reason. But then at the end of the year, I show them like the world championships that we've won and stuff like that. I always tell them like because they're pretty young and I don't think they remember the '01 championship the Angels won. I'm like, do you even remember that? Like I remember mine. Mine happened like 3 months ago. Like stuff like that. So it's funny just like banter back and forth. So I do have friends who are from like opposing teams. I have some Padre fans, of course, the Mariners fans, a few Braves fans, Angel fans, and I think that might be it, unless I'm forgetting someone. But other than that, yeah, it's mostly just primarily Dodger fans, which is cool.
I have two Padres fans, friends that are fans of Padres. Shout out to Taylor. But yeah, I'm not usually making too many fans outside of my fan base, especially with the rivals. But I mean, I, sympathize for your Angel buddies because, that's not, I guess winning isn't in their top
Yeah.
five of,
The Padre fan thing is funny because like the two Padre fans, friends of mine, they were fans when they sucked. So I know they're really like diehard fans, and they didn't jump on when like they brought Tatis or traded for Tatis and like signed Machado. No, they were like putting in the work for those losing seasons. So like they're the only ones that I know. Like okay, you guys are like really psycho and like diehard about them. So like I'm not gonna call you a bandwagon because I've known you since like middle school and stuff like that, and you were rooting hard for the Padres and stuff like that.
ugh, so glad we're in LA, Anthony. I couldn't do it. Okay, so let's talk Sheehan, Emmett Sheehan. So last outing several days ago. I love him. I'm going to preface it by saying that I love his confidence. I love his aura. I think that he's an incredible pitcher. Last outing, left more to be desired. He had 5 and 2/3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 7 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and his velocity was a little bit lower than what we are used to. Nothing to panic about. I mean, everyone has an outing here and there, no matter who you are as a starting pitcher. But kind of comparing that to now what we're seeing with Robleski, what we're seeing with the 6-man rotation, what we're looking at with Roki, how do you feel about Sheehan's kind of like role going forward? Kind of just one of those things that he'll just chalk it up and do, better in the next round of his pitching?
For me, yeah, I think going forward, at least the 3 of them, because Robleski, he's going to be a spot starter every here and now and then. Robleski, Sheehan, and Sasaki, I'll group the 3 of them. It's just going to be one of those things to see if, like, okay, the velocity being down is a little bit concerning, considering his prior injury with the elbow and stuff like that. But for me, he looked all right. I think he kind of had to grit his way through that start. Hopefully, his next start is kind of more smooth and he looks like the Emmett Sheehan of old, because we know what the Emmett Sheehan of old looks like. He's very dominant, very sure about himself when he's out there. For me, it's an insane luxury to have, because like this is the only complaint we have. We don't know what we're gonna get from our 4th and 5th starter. Robleski being penciled into that because sometimes he'll be a spot starter in case of Roki doesn't go deep into a game, etc. For me, the 4th spot is going to be Blake Snell when he comes back at the end of May. And then after that, the 5th spot is going to be basically, well, who's hot? It's going to be Sheehan. It's going to be Robleski. It's going to be Sasaki. And we still haven't seen Gavin Stone. We don't know what he's going to look like when he ramps back up. And River Ryan kind of had a little bit of a bumpy start down in AAA a few days ago. So right now it's kind of up in the open. It's an open competition for those young guys, and whoever's willing to step up and meet the challenge is going to be the 5th starter. And again, I think all these guys are going to contribute in ways throughout the season. Maybe there'll be a period of time where, like, okay, River Ryan's going to be the guy that's going to be getting a few of these starts. And if he has a rough start, okay, Gavin Stone, maybe it's your turn to get a few starts to see what you got. So I think it's going to be like penciled in, okay, like, all right, we know who our top 4 are, but we're trying to figure out who that 5th guy is.
Luckily we have the depth, and the Dodgers always have that next man up mentality, and someone's always ready to come up and really just, take care of the innings, take care of what we need to have done as we make sure our big dogs are ready for September and October. But yeah, I definitely think that we're going to see some really clever, like you say, penciling in the next month or 2. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Snell coming back. I'm looking forward to seeing what Gavin Stone is about, because I really love his pitching. But I just get I'm so worried with injuries. It wouldn't be a Dodgers season without injuries. We knew that was going to come. We know that we're going to struggle with it here and there. But that just brings me to Mookie, because he was starting off, fantastic. He, like a year ago, he was so sick. He was trying to gain all his weight back. And this year he looked incredible at short. We saw him working with Yada Sensei, thinking, okay, there's going to be some really great stuff coming up throughout the season that we're going to see in his development as short. And then I guess this past weekend, first we thought it was a lower back injury. Turns out it was an oblique with a 4 to 6 week recovery time. But he looked good. There's like reason to believe that it might not be as serious as, we think in terms of the length of time. Maybe he'll come back a little sooner. He's already kind of telling us that he feels good. But that just kind of brings me to you. Give me your thoughts on Mookie. And is there a time when people Mookie's age shouldn't be having guys fully on their shoulders and carrying them around?
There is currently an oblique epidemic going on in Los Angeles, because Austin Reeves also has a 4 to 6 week diagnosis for his oblique injury. And at least with Mookie's, initially when he ran, I'm like, because you could tell he kind of pulled up towards the end at home plate, and I'm like, that didn't look good. And then, like, sure enough, like they came back from commercial to start the next half inning, and they're like, oh, Mookie's been removed from the game. So I'm like, oh, that's definitely not good. So immediately I started to panic, because I thought, I'm like, lower body immediately, when I thought like, oh, he probably felt something, whether it was hamstring, calf, or knee. I'm like, I don't like the way he pulled up. So when I heard lower back, I'm like, okay, how do you hurt your lower back like running? And then it got confirmed oblique. I'm like, oh, that's even worse. Like, I would have preferred like lower back stiffness or something like that. But Mookie being Mookie, he was taking ground balls today, and he looks like he's basically back to normal. So hopefully, and my heart of hearts, I hope it was basically like, hey, like I felt something running. Let's get it checked out. We're playing Washington. Like let's check it out now. Diagnosis is oblique. I'm like, okay, it's an oblique. And then like he just probably like took a few days, like, okay, I feel pretty good. I feel good. So hopefully it's kind of just like a 2 week thing. kind of like, okay, this is just precautionary. There's no reason to push it in April. This isn't September. This isn't like, or the NLDS game one where we're like, hey, like we kind of need you here, but it's April. Like, there's no reason to push it. The team is very deep. Guys like Kim, Espinal, Freeling are stepping up. Like, there's really no reason for you to push it. Like, if you need 2, 3 weeks to kind of just sit down and reset, go, so be it. Uh, just the depth from the team, like those three guys that I mentioned, and I didn't even mention Alex Call. I know he's not an infielder, but he's been balling as well too. But there's no room for him to play right now in the outfield because all three guys are balling out in the outfield as well too. So the depth, it's just there's nothing to worry about for me other than okay, we just have to get you healthy and back to 100% going forward.
That just shows that the kids are going to get their opportunities, no matter how many, times we were thinking, oh, look at what we have here up on Team of All Stars, but it's not, they weren't going to play all 162 games no matter what. They were going to look to kind of either rest them, see if they felt a little bit off. They were going to make sure, we're giving you your rest. We've got the depth to kind of bring the kids up. Look at Kim. Kim got called up and look at how he is doing. Defensively, I'm in love with watching him. What are your thoughts on Hae-Sung Kim and his taking advantage of this opportunity?
That's what it is. It's an opportunity, and he's been balling out not only at the plate but defensively. He had that great over the head like catch in that first game against Toronto, and then today he had that slow chopper that Vladdy hit, and he had like a very awkward like fielding position. And he still got him out by a little bit. So for me, guys are going to get their opportunities. They're going to have to make the most of it, and for the most part, most of these guys are making the most of their opportunity. I think it kind of stems back to like they know roster space is very limited. Unfortunately, you can't carry 40 guys. You only get 25, 26 guys. You do want to be on that 40-man roster, though, because if the opportunity does come, you want to show that you can play for this team. And these guys are showing that they can play for this team. And it's also a good audition for possibly other teams. They're like, well, hey, like, if this guy doesn't fit with them, like, maybe there's a shot he fits with us, stuff like that. For me, Kim, he had a really good year last year. Unfortunate that he got hurt and kind of was like reduced to just bench guy towards the end of his first year with the Dodgers. Didn't really get much into any of those playoff games apart from like pinch running situations. And I know he got into the last game of the World Series, but that was the very last 3 outs of the game. So for me, I think this is kind of big to show the Dodgers coaching that like, hey, like you told him to do this in the offseason with his swing, and he's kind of produced now at the major league level against the Jays. I would love to see him play a little bit more. Now with the uncertainty, I hope everything's going well with Miguel Rojas because he was scratched due to that family matter, so we don't know what's going on. So there's opportunities to be made here, and a lot of these guys are cashing in on it. I feel like Espinal had a very good game against the Nationals. What was it, yesterday? No, 2 days ago, Easter Sunday. He had that very big at bat as well. And Alex Freeland has kind of been like the one guy where he's like, oh, he's kind of shaky, and like Cody jinxed him. Like he hasn't had a hit in a while, and sure enough, he had an RBI single today. So it's nice to see these young guys performing and producing for the big team.
Cody jinxes everyone. He's not here to defend himself, so
and you know what? Who I'm gonna bring up that I just thought of right now, Dalton Rushing has been balling as well too. I completely forgot about him because he's the backup catcher, but he's been balling out, and he looks like he's finally found his major league swing at this level. I'm ecstatic. There's just like there's so much good players on the Dodgers, and there's so much good young depth that is ready and like really pushing these like old guys. I hate to say old guys, but a lot of these guys are old guys. Like, hey, like you guys have to stay sharp because we're hungry and we want this opportunity too.
You're old when you're in your 30s, Anthony, according to the way this works. That's why. But I was actually going to talk about him next, so I'm glad you brought him up because, I mean, I'm still not fully over my heartbreak of losing Rortvet, but seeing Dalton Rushing ball out like that helps me a lot, helps me get over it, because that really makes me think of how the ability for Will Smith to get more rest comes into play, because you can't have Will Smith. And we knew he was going to play the majority of games, and, Rushing was going to come here in and out, and we were concerned about his play time. But if he's showing that he can, do this, does it help the Dodgers say, hey, we can get Will Smith off his, I want to say off his feet, but off his, crouching and on his knees, like take its toll. So is this a good thing for the overall like length of the season in terms of keeping Will fresh for October?
This is a good thing as well too. I think last year, for Dalton. I think it was just awkward because he's never been a backup for a very good catcher in Will Smith. And I think there was an article out that said, yeah, that Dalton kind of had to like reshape his mindset. And now his mindset into the season is like, look, I'm up here and I'm going to learn everything as possible, whether it's from Will, whether it's from coaches, whether it's from like the pitching staff, stuff like that. So far, I think he's only caught, well, apart from yesterday, he caught most of Sasaki's starts. So I'm kind of interested to see if that's going to be a little like tandem going forward. I would hope that Sasaki kind of gets some chemistry with Will, but maybe him and Rushing kind of have a little thing going. They're okay, I can manage him. Like let me get him. Um, but for me, the biggest concern last year was kind of his bat because it was kind of just like non-existent. And the whole
Mhm.
time you would hear from like the minor leagues and stuff like that, and guys who watch AAA, like, hey, like this guy's he's a power hitter. His bat, he's known for it. He's gonna hit home runs, and like it's gonna translate once it gets up here to the major league level. And it just didn't last year. Also had very limited
Yeah.
opportunities as well last year, and he kind of got hurt as well too. That kind of gave Roadbit the opportunity to kind of like slot in into that like primary catcher role. So for me, I think last year was kind of just like rookie year. It was bad. It wasn't all the way bad, but offensively, at least it was bad. It's kind of like, okay, shake it off. Let's start fresh year. And again, another young guy who's made the most of his limited opportunities because he's not going to be in there every day so far. But he is making the case for like, hey, like maybe I deserve 2 games a week. Maybe sometimes I deserve three, stuff like that. He also has the opportunity to play a unique as well because he can play first base as well too. So again, there's a chance to get Freddie Freeman off his feet as well too. So it's not only just Will Smith. There's an opportunity there at first base. I don't know how much I would experiment with that right now. It is early on in the year, so if it is a blowout and you want to get Freddie, like, hey, like, just get off your feet for these next 3 innings, and you want to throw Rushing in there at first base, fine by me.
And it won't worry me as much when I would see you rushing in because I really like rushing. I do. I don't want to give the impression that I don't, but it would worry me because of his bat last year. But I mean, this is obviously going to give him confidence. And I wonder, like, kind of your take on, will this kind of help the narrative that the Dodgers don't have the homegrown talent? Because if you've got Smith, you've got rushing, you've got some young boys that we're like developing. We're not an all bought team, right, Anthony?
No, we're not. I hate this narrative a lot because, like, if you look at the team, yeah, there is some like talent like Otani and Yamamoto, I guess, but there's guys who've been with the team for a while now. Like, I look at Max Muncy. I know he's not ours. We didn't develop him, but we did give him a shot to make the major league roster in 2018. Uh, I look at Will Smith. Will Smith might be a Hall of Famer. I don't know yet. There's a potential there. I look at our pitching staff as well too. Whether it's a Gavin Stone, an Emmett Sheehan, or who am I thinking of? River Ryan, stuff like that. So there, Dalton Rushing. So there's a lot of these guys who have the potential to be our farm guys and stuff like that. Who are our farm guys? Are our kids, quote unquote. But then if you look at the league and you see the teams that have Dodger players that we develop, like a Seager, who we're gonna see here in the next coming days, a Bellinger who's out there balling, stuff like that. So I think it's just kind of stems in it. But there's also they like to say that the farm system is kind of overrated. I'm staring at his bobblehead. Like Dustin May was one of those guys where I thought he was gonna like it was all gonna line up for him. He's gonna be the next guy, and he unfortunately became a what if because of the injuries and that scary procedure he had to do with his esophagus where he almost like choked on salad essentially. So I mean, you can do this for any team. There's guys on the Red Sox that are probably like, yeah, this is our young player, our young guy, but then they ended up trading him. Same here. So it's a narrative that has to go away. I think the only way they'll embrace the Dodger farm system is like once these guys like retire, like a Muncy retires, a Freeman retires, and like so on and so forth. And then what are they going to say then when like the Dodgers like push out like 10 young guys from our farm system and like where they get him from? Well, they drafted and developed him. And so what's the excuse then? Like, oh, well, now you have to go and like draft and develop guys and then like you supplement it with like Hall of Fame talent. So I don't know. It gets annoying seeing those arguments. I usually tend to ignore it. Um, they complained when we won it in 2020 with all the talent that we had. That Dodger team, the only non like Dodger prospect I think was Mookie at the time. It was like
Yeah.
Peterson, it was Seager, Bellinger, guys that we developed, our top prospects that kind of led the charge. I know Justin Turner wasn't a guy that we developed, but I feel like he's a guy that you gave him an opportunity to prove himself as a Dodger, and he made the most of it. He was kind of on his last legs there. I look at a Chris Taylor as well too. Austin Barnes, I know he was with the Mariners Mariners, yeah, Mariners farm system, and we traded for him, stuff like that. So I hate the whole argument like, oh well, you didn't really draft and develop him. You traded for him, and like he made his name on this. No, it's just I don't like that argument at all.
And it never ends. Even if we did everything absolutely perfect according to like every little detail, and it is just practically a perfect run organization, there's always going to be lots of haters out there that never want to give us credit. But we do have not just a bought team in some aspects, but we do have incredibly developed talent that I just love watching. But yeah, I just want to kind of get your thoughts on today's game just for a second. We don't always get it. I love when managers show their passion for their team. Manager for the Blue Jays, John Snyder, I mean, red as a tomato, yelling on behalf of his team, was a balk by their pitcher, Gossman. But I just want to get your take on it. I mean, there's obviously a lot of frustration. The Blue Jays, credit to them, it really wasn't going to be the World Series matchup that we had all wanted because they have so many people on their injured list. So they're not really playing with the exact team that we were seeing, last October and November. But there has to be frustration after being, down game after, but even before the Dodgers came to town, they were, swept by the teams that
The
were,
White Sox, and
the
they're
White Sox.
if you put like the highlights from that series and our series, and you put the Benny Hill music, you'd make a great compilation of like all the errors the Blue
Right?
Jays have made. They basically have done a good job of shooting themselves in the foot throughout the early
Mhm.
starts of the season.
Yeah, no, your text chain is right in our group chat. It's just sloppy all the way around, and I just think that that's not indicative of how they're going to end their season when they get their guys back and find their rhythm. But it hasn't looked good, and it definitely is frustrating their fans. But yeah, let's still talk about Yamamoto for a second too. He that last shaky few minutes that he was on the mound, but prior to that, he looked like the Yamamoto that is to be feared today. And he luckily, thanks to Alex Vesia, who I want to just get your thoughts on briefly, he made sure that Yamamoto's the runners that he had put on base did not come in, which kind of preserved his Cy Young campaign still, if there is a Cy Young campaign for Yamamoto. Just give me your thoughts on Vesia. Are you not just happy for him after everything he's been through to be showing out this way?
Yeah, I picked him at the start of the year to be the bullpen dog. At least towards
Yeah.
the end of the year, we'll see where he's at. But again, last year throughout the World Series, I there was multiple spots where I'm like, this is the Vesia spot. Like this is where I would want him right now. And today, no other the first name that Dave calls out of that bullpen to kind of like be the fireman and kind of save that situation, Alex Vesia. And I love that he stuck with him for that third out because
Me too.
typically in the past, what do? You go to the numbers, you get the right-handed guy who was Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan was warming up in that situation, and I love that Vesia or not Vesia. Dave looked at or didn't even look at Alex. He's like, no, I'm gonna write it out. He's my guy. He's hot. He just got these last two guys out. Let me see what he can do right here. And thankfully, he rewards you. He gets that third out and gets out of that inning. For me, I'm happy for him. He's kind of like the unsung hero of that Dodgers bullpen because you think of a lot of guys before him, and it feels like when he's not wrong, right, and he had a few spots last year where he kind of was like shaky and stuff like that. And it kind of like turns on him and like, no, you just got to let him like every bullpen guy throughout Major League Baseball is going to have a rough stretch, whether it's a week, whether it's a two. You just have to be like, okay, this is bad, but like we know he's going to get back to where he usually is, and that's what he was today. He's usually at the very most very dominant when it comes to pitching to righties and lefties, and whenever his name is called, I feel the utmost confidence that he's going to get us out of this situation, whatever the situation may be.
I do too. I really like him, and I think this is just something that not just us as fans like to see, but I think there's something in it for that he feels like he's contributing. How probably badly he wanted to be out there, but of course, with what happened with his daughter and his the wife and the situation, we completely understand. But I just love that he's back and he's coming through for us in the way that he is because he's ours and he feels like family, and it's really great to see. But I kind of like, speaking of another dog in our bullpen, Edwin Diaz. Oh my God, I love him. I thought it was hilarious today when I saw him with the alternative fashion brimless hat. Did you see that photo? I've never
I
seen anything
did,
like
yeah.
it. Jake,
So the meme is it's Yankee no brim, and the
okay.
Dodgers. I think the bullpen guys. They said I think if I read correctly, Tanner Scott is kind of leading the charge in it. It looks very weird. Like it looks insane, and I don't know if I'd ever wear it just because I have a big head. Like I wear like a 7, and what is this at? Well, this one's an 8. So I don't know if I could pull it off. I don't know if I would want to wear it. Again, bullpens tend to be weird. They have their own little like quirks and stuff like that. You hear from like a bunch of former bullpen guys once they're done playing that, like, yeah, every bullpen kind of takes as an identity of itself. Sometimes they're very quiet. Sometimes they play games in there like in the middle of the games and stuff like that just to keep themselves awake and stuff. If you remember 2 years ago, they started wearing that Mr. Cartoon mask kind of as like that was a Bonda thing. So maybe the brimless hat is now like, okay, like we have to find our own thing now because Bonda's now with the Twins. So I don't know. Bullpens are weird. There's a lot of weird characters in there. Um, Especially like it's funny seeing so many like weird characters because you tend to see like the closers are kind of like the most psycho of the bullpen. But like if you looked in there, I think the most psycho guy would be Alex Vesia because like he comes out there and like just like this ginormous ball of energy that's just taken on the mound compared to an Edwin Diaz who's kind of calm, cool, and collective. It's kind of the opposite. You would think Vesia would be the closer just by
Right?
his actions and stuff like that and the way he reacts when he pitches and stuff like that. So I don't know. Bullpens are weird. Uh, Starting pitchers are also very weird too. They're very routine oriented. A lot of these guys, when you hear them, like when they're done talking, they're like, "Yeah, when I started, like I would wake up at this time. I'd be having breakfast at this time. I'd be leaving to the stadium at this time." I'm like, "Damn!" Like when I get ready to work, I basically head out. I'm like, I don't think about anything else. Like, I don't know. So baseball players in general are just weird.
They're weird, but I love them for it. I'm gonna die laughing if they all start coming out wearing that. It's gonna be the most hilarious thing. But I can actually see it. But yeah, speaking of starting pitchers or starting pitcher tomorrow, Shohei. I guess he was in the rain. It was like pouring rain a couple days ago. There was a rain delay over in DC. And did you see that kid that waited for Shohei in the rain, and then Shohei goes over and rewards him, takes a picture with him, gives him a ball? I mean, would you wait in the rain for Shohei, Anthony?
I love Shohei, but no, I hate waiting in the rain. I work in the rain sometimes, and it sucks. I don't know. I don't know how long that workout went for, and he's very dedicated to stay there because it didn't look like it was like a light drizzle. It looked like it was really like coming
Rain.
down. So like I don't know. The kid is very dedicated at that. He has an awesome picture now too, as well too. The picture that he has is awesome, and like, could you imagine if that young kid like he makes it to the big leagues and like he says like, well, I had this happen. I know it's a long shot. Like it's very hard to make it to college baseball at this point. I don't know if getting drafted as well too, but stuff like that kind of makes kids memories because now they have that photo to like live on. I bet you like, the first thing they did was probably print it out and framed it wherever they keep their family photos so they can have something to like remember forever. That's kind of a man cave thing as well too. If his pops has a man cave, kind of put that picture right up there. Kind of shows like, hey, the greatest player of his generation like was kind enough to take a picture with us. And Shohei doesn't have to do that. He could have easily just gone back in and like get changed and get ready for the game, but he saw that he was there and just like made his day. And it took what, like maybe 30 seconds to acknowledge him, maybe said hello, kind of here and there, gave him the ball, took the picture, and kind of just went out about his day.
It's amazing. Like if it were me, it'll never be me, but if it was, I would turn that into like a pillowcase, a bed cover, plaster my house in that photo. I mean, Shohei is as accessible as he can be in those types of cases. You see him go over to people. He does at spring training. He will sign some bobbleheads. He'll do things here and there, but he's not an easy autograph to get or an easy picture to get in general. So that must be just a once in a lifetime amazing experience for that young man. So that was kind of cute. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk to you. Also, you said something in our text chain about getting your tickets to, I guess, some upcoming events for the Olympics because you can now start buying them, right? And prices look
Yeah.
easy for all that stuff.
Yeah. So some of the events, let me see if I can roll it up here. Let me try to ramble. So I actually didn't get a chance to buy them. I had friends who got into the process and like you're able to buy like an allotted amount of tickets. So I
Yeah.
will be going with friends to these events. I will be going to women's basketball. I'll be going to baseball, women's volleyball, and beach volleyball. There's a lot of volleyball, and that's specifically because some of these prices were very outrageous, and I was not going to pay that amount of money to go watch basketball. I love men's basketball. Team USA is always a dream team. But I'm not patriotic enough to spend like $600, $700 for a potential gold medal game or a bronze medal game. I'm like, I am not doing that. I can watch that from the comfort of my house. So it's kind of like an ideal. And the baseball one was the one where I was like, I have to do this. I really want to do this. Like that's if I had to pick any of these sports, like I want to watch Olympic baseball. And again, I don't know if major league talent is going to be playing in this. I hope so. It would be a dream. It'd be awesome. But I think just the whole Olympic experience, if you're able to get tickets, is going to be a cool thing because it's one of those like once in a lifetime things for me. So I'll be very interested in volleyball because I feel like everyone plays volleyball and knows the rules of volleyball. So it kind of be easy to watch and be probably fun to watch. So I'm excited for 2 years from now when the Olympic Games are here.
We were looking at prices, and at first I thought, "Oh, how bad can it?" It's pretty bad. So, and
Yeah.
some of my favorite sports that I like to see in the Olympics, they are so overpriced right now. But and you never know; things could change in a couple of years, or I could get opportunities through who knows who. But I will definitely keep my fingers crossed. But if not, I'm going to live vicariously through you on all of that because it's a once in a lifetime here in LA event. But one other kind of cool piece of news is we're kind of looking at our odds and ends. You weren't born yet, but 33 years ago today, I guess The Sandlot, one of the most classic films for baseball, came out, and I was wondering if you have, maybe it's that one, I don't know, but do you have yourself a favorite baseball film, your go-to?
And it is The Sandlot just because
Okay.
like I feel I am 28. I'll be 29 in September. But for me, when I think of like summertime, especially when I was a kid, there was nothing else I wanted to do. This is before the world of tablets and smartphones and all that. Yes, I survived the time where there was no tablet in front of my face. The thing that I always wanted to do, whether it was springtime, it was summertime, I never did it during the fall because it was just too cold. Um, was play baseball. My buddies, my friends. I grew up playing in the little league. I grew up in a little league, basically. I was always there Saturday, Sunday. I would always be there during the week practicing, whether it was with my team or watching my brother play. So I feel like Little League baseball is kind of like where I grew up, and the Sandlot kind of replicates that a little bit. I know they're kind of like a ragtag team of players, not really a little league team, but that's kind of like how we ended up playing anyway. Because after our game, you know what we did when the big kids were playing, we'd have our own little game as well too. We'd have enough guys to play, whether it was pickle or we just play BP or just shag fly balls or just play catch, you name it. For me, The Sandlot is kind of one of those perfect picture movies where like it reminds me of summertime as a kid. And the most fun thing that I would do during the summertime was play baseball with my friends, whether it was in the park, whether it was at the little league or just in the front house just playing catch. That's kind of like the ideal baseball movie is this as well.
And it stood the test of time. I mean, you can't even argue with that. I love it. And I mean, contrary to like what many kids today would believe, there was life before tablets and smartphones, and we went outside and did a lot of really amazing things when we were kids. And I'm glad I got to experience that too. But yeah, that wraps up my notes. And I know you are going to the game on Friday, so we just talked about that at the top of the show. So hopefully you don't have to experience the rain, but if you do, it'll still be a great experience with your dad. But and your mom. But what are your final thoughts as we get ready to close it out?
Final thoughts. I'm hoping for a sweep tomorrow. Upset that the game's early, our time at least, but I get a getaway game. Have to get back to LA to play these games against the Mets and the Rangers. So other than that, as long as they play hard and give themselves a chance to win a game tomorrow, I'll be happy. If they lose, I probably will be upset for like 20 minutes and then forget they lost and get ready for the games this weekend. So that's are my final thoughts.
Yeah, we're going to miss each other this weekend. I'm not going till Saturday, so we're going to have to cross paths at a future time. But I definitely wish your dad a happy early birthday to your dad, and hope you guys have a blast. But yeah, that's going to do it for our show. Make sure to check out Talking Blue with Cody and Vince later this week, and also make sure to check out all of the post game interviews that producer Roger makes sure that he gets from all of the after press conferences. Make sure to check out our handles. You can find me, Drea, on Instagram and X at Ravine Queen 1958. You can check out Anthony on X at Anthony Acosta _. And don't forget to check out DodgersBeat.com for all of Cody and Steve's articles. And until the next big thing happens, let's go Dodgers.